Welcome to an all-new Weekday Golf. He's Preston. I'm Oliver.
So I finally sat down and did the TPI assessment with Nicole.
How did it go?
What was your score?
26.
Sorry to tell you, I got a 21.
You're saying this as if you didn't immediately text me with a screenshot.
I'm in such better golf shape.
I'm going to throw the flag.
I'm laughing because we both have a lot of room to grow.
Different situations.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. What did you think of it?
It was interesting. I have yet to advance to the stage of actually doing any of the suggested exercises.
Yeah.
Don't tell Nicole.
I congratulate you on your golf fitness superiority.
Thank you.
Numbers don't lie. I, on the other hand, have dramatically improved my one-legged balance because of the toothbrushing tip that you gave us.
Nice.
So I've been doing it every day. Almost instantly, it's definitely helped.
I look forward to the time in my life when I got all the time in the world to do all these exercises.
Well, all kidding aside, the thing I like about the brushing your teeth thing is that's literally something you're doing anyway.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I wonder if there's other things I can do from the comfort of my bathroom.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Because we are exploring how we experience golf in different ways.
Yep.
TPI and all that stuff is very much in line with how I think. Like, I'm bought in. Has it changed at all how you think about it?
No. It didn't take a genius level intellect to realize, like, if I was stronger or in better shape or more flexible, I'd probably have better golf movements.
Yeah. Now, for me, it is interesting to note what are the movements that I'm restricted in. And that mapped very cleanly to things that I had been working on. And I previously would be like, oh, that's all a technique issue. And so that actually motivates me to be like, okay, well, maybe let me try balancing while I'm brushing my teeth because I am sometimes off balance at the top of my swing. Mm-hmm. So,
cool.
But no such aha moment for you.
Not really. I don't think that simply doing the assessment made me recommit to a new routine of the exercises that I should do.
Yeah, well, there's no one way to do this, right?
I think that you and I are living proof that there's clearly no one way to approach this game.
Yeah.
It's just different, right? It's like a lot of life. Like, people come at life differently, and we're not here to say one thing is wrong or one thing is right.
Yeah, I like to understand things. Yeah.
And I like to feel things.
Right.
And I think that's no secret to you.
Yeah. And we've talked about our different approaches before, but I don't think we've ever tried to really get in there as much. So let's do that.
Okay, I'm down. What did golf mean to you when you first started playing?
The first time that I can remember ascribing any kind of meaning to it was when I started playing more. This is age 12, 13, had my buddies I've talked about. I got good enough where it was kind of becoming a thing. And so when I look back at my high school age, golf was probably the thing on a relative basis that I was the best at. Some part of my self-identity was around golf. It gave me confidence. It was a big part of my life. Playing well felt good. Playing badly didn't feel good. What about you?
It was just fun to hit a ball. Fun to get out on the range, and I think it was a very primal kind of enjoyment. And it was time with my dad. I think a similarity that we share.
Well, I was going to ask you that because, unfortunately I never had a chance to meet your dad, but it strikes me that you were very close with your dad. And so that probably had a big part of it.
Yeah. I was also, I have two older sisters. Love you both, Amy and Wendy. And I was the only son. I had a funny conversation with my sister the other day who listened to our description of playing with our dads in an earlier episode. And she was like, your experience playing golf with dad was vastly different than mine. Because mine, hers was, he would basically be frustrated and yelling and do this and do that and da-da-da-da.
Right.
And it wasn't like I didn't have that from time to time, but I think it was much more of a bonding experience for me than it was for her. I didn't even really, frankly, know that either of them had ever played golf with my dad until Wendy mentioned it to me.
Were you thinking of it as fun, sort of independent from your dad, or was it like, oh, this is dad time?
At first, it was definitely dad time. I think that's probably not unusual.
Yeah.
I think about our friend DJ and Luke. DJ basically said as much, right? It started out as kind of like golf buddy time.
Your personality on the golf course versus your personality off the golf course. Same person? Or do you feel like you're different people?
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Mostly same person.
Yeah.
Some elements of maybe golf specific.
Okay. Say more about that. Go a little deeper.
Well, same person is gregarious, friendly, likes to have a conversation. Maybe different person. Maybe your family would disagree. I don't know. But, you know, those moments when you kind of get knocked off your game a little bit, could be slow play, someone talking in your swing, and maybe that was like the final straw of a bunch of mounting little golf issues going on. And you can kind of retreat for a few holes, and the rest of the group can feel that sometimes.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know that that happens outside of golf.
It can. Yeah.
It strikes me that most people are probably the same person on the golf course as off.
Yeah.
But golf kind of heightens certain things, right? I probably express more frustration during golf than I would say at the office. We all bring slightly different personas based on where we are.
Sure.
Like little blow-ups and frustrations. You try to be cool in more public settings, but for some reason golf can take you out of that a little bit.
Yeah. Is that a regular experience that you have of me?
No.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to paint the wrong picture
No,
here.
no, not at all. No,
like,
no,
I'm not like walking
no,
around.
no. Not all the time. Sometimes though.
Yeah. Well, that's part of my big feelings, you know?
Do you think your personality, however it was shaped, did that influence you embracing golf? Or do you think, you know, was golf a good sport for your personality, for example? Because I think that was the case for me.
You know, at this point, who's to say where my personality shaped my interest and where golf shaped my personality?
Right.
This question of like why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
Is less interesting to me from the perspective of a psychology professional than is who you are adaptive. If it's not, how do you want to change that? I mean, people are generally fascinated by the question that you asked, which is, why are you the way you are? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, and I'm centering this around golf.
Yeah.
Not trying to get
it's
super
like,
deep on.
No. But you know, it's something I know about. So
Yeah.
More interesting to me is who do you want to be and how do you want to get there? You know, and so
Is that
like,
something you actively think about?
yeah, I think so. I want to be a more patient golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm noticing that I'm experiencing impatience, then I recenter on, okay, I have a choice right now. What choice am I going to make? Mm-hmm. And that gives me more agency. And that's a good way to approach life too. It's like this thing that's outside of my control, for instance, somebody playing slow in front of me. What can I do about that? And there's an extent to which I can influence the behavior of somebody else without stepping on their toes. And once I have taken all of whatever those actions happen to be, then it's like, okay, now I got to deal with myself. Then I have to move towards acceptance. Like, okay, this is taking me out of my game. I need to like recenter. How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
And we had a good conversation with Josh Sander about these kind of concepts.
Is that stuff that you think about in the moment?
It depends on
The thing. Yeah.
the thing and the level of frustration.
Yeah.
In my life, I've had to learn how to do that in the moment. It wasn't a talent that I was born with.
Yeah.
It's a skill I've had to develop. And so sometimes I'm good at it. Sometimes I got a little work to do, and that's life.
That approach resonates with me as well. You know, from a golf perspective, like who do I want to be? I want to have less mechanical thoughts on the course. Mm-hmm. So I have to proactively remind myself not to do that.
What do you do to proactively remind yourself? Do you have any like cues that you lean on, or?
If I can remember to think of playing around as be target focused, that preoccupies myself so that the other stuff doesn't even come in. You know, reading that first Bob Rotella book really made an impact on me because I didn't think in the moment too much about how, unlike other sports, golf, you're not reacting to anything else. Mm-hmm. And so you have to almost trick yourself into reacting to something. And the thing you're doing is you're telling your mind, I'm reacting to the target.
That's an interesting way to put it.
That's how I read what he said. So if you're constantly looking at your target, you're looking at your target in a very specific point, not only are you making it more reactive, but you are not even allowing those, make sure your right arm goes here thoughts as you're doing it. You're just looking at and focusing on the target. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense to me. We both grew up playing a ton of sports. All those other sports are read and react.
Sure.
And golf, I think, is more difficult because it's not.
I think that's right.
There's like 15 to 20 minutes of actual like hitting the ball over a 4 hour round of golf. That's a lot of time for you to potentially let your mind think about things that are not going to be helpful on the golf course.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, the cue for me is just to remind myself, target.
Have you ever in your life felt compelled, motivated, interested in trying to quiet your mind?
I have thought about this, and speaking of who do you want to be, there have been all these Capital One televised matches, like Charles Barkley and Phil versus Tiger and Peyton Manning or something.
I'm loosely familiar with it, yes.
Yeah, so Barkley, for one of these matches, was paired with Phil. And before he would hit, Phil would say, Charles, quiet the mind. And so that actually prompted me to do that sometimes, mostly over putts, by the way. How do you do that?
I have some experience in training with transcendental meditation.
TM.
And because I had a period of time in my life where I was doing it fairly regularly, like I know that that's a mind state that I can go to.
Can you, in a very high level way, define TM?
Sure. It is a mantra-based meditation that you engage in for 20 minutes at a time. And you're basically repeating the same mantra over and over in your head until the point in time where you realize that your mind has drifted to something else.
Mm-hmm.
The impact of it is such that when you're engaged in it, you drop your brain waves down into almost sleep-like brain waves.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like this neurochemistry that resets in your head. It feels like you're kind of like flushing out your mind.
Yeah.
So I have this like knowledge base and this experience of reaching that state.
Yeah.
And if I just take a breath, I can almost re-achieve that immediately.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I notice you on the golf course sometimes looking very intentional about what appears to me getting present.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you sort of exhale in a certain way or how you look at something in a certain way. And my immediate conclusion is he's locking in.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening.
Yeah. And, you know, our discussion with Josh definitely helped make me more cognizant of the importance of that. I've done some box breathing before putts, focused on listening to other auditory signals like birds or like leaves blowing in the wind or something. Those are things that do not come naturally to me. I was thinking about why are we the way that we are? The way I just am, combined with probably my struggle from when I was, you know, in college, has grounded me into like how I approach the game today.
Let me clarify. Like it's useful to know who you are. In my opinion, it's far more valuable to know where you want to go and who you want to be. And we're talking about it in terms of golf, but also in like my work with clients, you know, I try to get away from, let's not worry so much about why you are where you are.
Yeah.
Who and where do you want to be now? And let's talk about the tools that we can add to your toolbox to get you there.
I agree with that. When you're in like a mini slump, call it, couple holes, what goes in your head?
Not a lot. I think it probably ties pretty closely to lack of concentration, lack of focus. It's rarely something else.
When you're on the golf course, are you sort of locked into, I'm going to be the best I can be today on this golf course? Or are you kind of like, it's only golf, but like how I play it's just one piece?
I think I do both things. I love to play the game. And so when I do, I want to play it well. I also love to be with people. And so I want to engage and have a good time while I'm doing it. The thing with golf, the old saying, like somebody's had a terrible round, but then they hit like a killer drive on 18. That's what keeps you coming back. And some days you're just off, but there's several moments throughout each round where you just hit a great shot, or you chip it and it spins and stops, or you sink a putt that you weren't expecting to make. Those micro moments, that's what I love about the game itself. And then aside from that, I enjoy having those experiences with people who I enjoy to be around. If I'm playing with 3 people I don't really love to be with and I shoot 72, I'm going to hang my hat on the golf that I played that day.
Yeah.
I'd rather shoot 72 with 3 of my best friends. that just makes it all that much better. And I think that's probably why we're sitting here talking
Yeah.
about this stuff.
I'm probably more present off the golf course than I am on because I'm so preoccupied with quality of play.
Huh.
When I'm parenting, for example, or thinking about big picture life stuff outside of golf, I'm way less in my head about things the way I might and probably am in golf. Like if I'm in a slump, I'm annoyed at in my case, ball striking. I'm annoyed that it's happening repeatedly, and I'm frustrated in my inability to correct for them. That is a big part of why I keep pursuing, I want to hit it better. I derive some level of like core base primitive satisfaction in hitting the ball the way I think I'm supposed to hit it. That gives me more satisfaction than a score, you know?
So what do you think about the old saying, like, it's a scorecard, not a photo album?
You know, logically, I sort of agree with that, but I play enough golf. Like, I don't play a lot of tournament golf. Tournament golf, I'm there to maximize my score. But deep down, next time I go to the course, I know, like, you got to keep working on this thing. And that is, you know, that's part of what I love about it. That's part of the soul for me, is the perpetual grind. In some levels, the frustration is part of the soul, right? That's golf.
For sure.
And so I can sit in it and enjoy part of it. But when it's repeated and sustained, that becomes frustration.
Yeah. You've talked about feel versus real. I sometimes, if I'm missing a shot one way or the other, I will actively make some micro adjustments in grip, stance, swing path, shaft lean.
Yeah.
Do you think that way on the golf course?
I think everyone does to some extent. But feel versus real is like a very real thing to me. One simple example is clock system. Show me your 9 o'clock. Show me your 9 o'clock on the golf course. It's actually like an 11 o'clock.
Do you think that there's more of a disconnect between your feel and your mind than me?
Could be, and that's why I enjoy videoing myself from time to time. That's why I find value in having an instructor, a pro like Nick, have eyes on it. Hey, we've been working on this. How's it looking? Nope, you're still doing the old thing. I am?
You don't feel like you get that feedback from your shot?
I definitely do. That's why I know it's not working, right? But I think the bridge from I know why it's not working to let me do the thing that works, that is often very challenging to do on your own because of things like feel versus real.
If I miss one too far left, which is not my typical miss, as you know, I'm like, my grip was way too strong, or my stance was way too close, or that was too far back, or my swing was way too inside out instead of outside in. And then I try to make those little changes.
Yeah, those to me are like micro adjustments on shots that are like just a little bit off. I'm talking about shots that are like way off. You might be like, oh, I'm missing the green by 5 yards to the left a little bit. Let me make a little adjustment. I'm talking about I just hit this club 20 yards short of where it should be. That's less of a micro adjustment in my mind. I could go to the range and be like, okay, I'm going to practice my draws now, I'm going to practice my fades, etc. But I would rather focus on, I want to hit this 5-iron 190 yards like I know I can. I'm not hitting it solid. That's the core issue.
Do you have fun playing golf alone?
I obviously love playing golf with friends. I love the social aspect of it. Probably the vast majority of the time I would prefer that. But golf to me can be enjoyed at a really high level in a solitary way too. Sometimes you just want to think about stuff on your own without feeling like you have to carry a conversation with someone else. You know, you happen to be lucky and you can get out and go play a few holes by yourself. Sometimes I love that. Would you ever enjoy playing golf by yourself?
No, I want to go out there and be with people. I want to, it doesn't necessarily mean we need to have a deep conversation, but I want to play a game. I want to compete. I want to enjoy your company. I think it's always more fun to have somebody there doing something with you.
It's kind of like practicing alone or not. And I like to practice alone.
I like to practice alone, but I think when we do our little chipping game, that's more fun.
Those are super fun. We will play little bocce type games with chipping for points. That's really fun. There are times when we do that where I do try to carve these like micro moments to be like, I'm actually trying to work on something right now. I often will be like, okay, if I'm chunking the side hill lie shot or I want to carry it to the green, I want to practice that actual specific shot. And so within the game that we play, I'll have these little concentrated moments where I'm like, okay, what are you trying to do? Let's focus on doing it. I mean, we went to the range the other day. How do you approach a day like that when you're actually hitting balls in the range, which you don't typically do?
I want to work on one or two mechanical things from time to time.
You're a little bit scientist, but mostly artist,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of the other way around.
I don't think you can be full scientist.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of folks that get hung up on mechanics and forget to be athletes. It's like the read and react stuff. It's like, here's this ball. It needs to go over there. And sometimes your body knows better to do
Yeah.
what to do than your mind does. That's where I think that's more of the feel stuff.
I agree with that in principle. In practice, it doesn't work for me. I can think of any other sport that I play, that's exactly how I am. Where golf feels different to me is that there are so many more parts of the actual physical act of playing golf that can go wrong. Does how you play affect your self-esteem outside of golf even?
Not outside of golf, but I think playing well is a boost to self-esteem. I think there's micro moments of self-esteem. Hitting a great drive, it's like, okay, good, I can do that. Making a long putt, okay, good, that's something I can do. My self-esteem is anchored in way more things than how I'm playing golf.
Yeah.
And I would imagine for you as well. I mean, you got a long history of being a successful human being.
Yeah, at a high level, yes. But at the same time, it has affected my self-esteem. When I went through what I have referred to as this dark period in my golf life, which was really, call it age 18 to 35. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But definitely, it was like highly concentrated in college. It for sure impacted my self-esteem. This thing that you think you're good at, all of a sudden you're not. There's loss of confidence in self, and then there's embarrassment externally, right? Like you show up to practice, you're playing badly, thoughts of like, how can you even be on this team, right? Coming from yourself, coming from, I wonder if that's what this person's thinking. In my first job out of college, I was working in New York, and the head boss of my group, like 3, 4, 5 levels above me, comes over to me one day and says, I heard you played golf in college. And I was like, yeah, sure did. And he's like, how'd you like to play with me? And he was a member at Winged Foot. I felt no choice but to go. I mean, I wanted to go, but I knew, hey, this is going to be tough. And I had a lot of self-pressure feelings leading up to it. I went to Chelsea Piers and hit a couple buckets, and I ended up playing pretty badly. It was super embarrassing. And now I'm thinking to myself, this guy probably thinks I'm a joke. Big picture, yes, I'm very secure with who I am in life. But for this period of time, golf was a big part of who I was, and it was bad by any objective measure. It was bad. And so that seeped into it. And I think that led to me just staying away for a while, because it was like, why do I want to dredge up these feelings of self-critical embarrassment? And it wasn't until I was able to let it go that I did, and that led us to where we are today, which is a totally different place. But that was a profound part of what the game meant to me at the time, and it was not positive.
Do you think in retrospect that like golf was an overweighted part of your identity at that time?
No, and this is the way I think about it. Should it have affected me as much? Obviously, no.
Right.
Why did it affect me as much? That kind of gets into like me being the type of person who likes to understand why, right? In college, like I never practiced. I won't get into all the nitty gritty, but I went to the driving range exactly one time in 4 years of practice. So I had to work on things on the golf course.
The coach didn't.
We weren't allowed access at the range.
Okay.
Not ideal.
Kind of nutty.
It's
when you think about it.
For a guy who thrives on trying to address something and having practice time to do it, I didn't have any of that. And I dealt with it worse than others, admittedly. Everyone else was in the same boat. But I need that practice time to like get back on the horse. I didn't have it, and I couldn't find it.
I sort of feel like that's an argument that you should be practicing more now.
For sure.
So why don't you?
Just like you, I have more fun on the golf course.
Yeah. You know, I've heard you say before that like game improvement's super important to you. And yet
Yeah, the actions do
And
not
yet-
line up with the desire.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, yeah,
Right.
I should be practicing way more than I do
Okay.
for what I claim to want to do.
Got it.
So, in the spirit of looking forward, who do you want to be? What is it that you want to do differently as a golfer?
I think maybe really kind of getting to a good feeling that some of the swing stuff that I've worked on over the last few years is drilled in. I think I could benefit from more practice. Like if we took one day of a week to just practice, I'd probably play a lot better golf.
Yeah.
Don't
Let's do
you?
it.
I think that'd be fun to do. I
Yeah.
think it'd be interesting to also like demarcate like, okay, it was at this date that we decided to start practicing one day, and I bet improvement occurs. I bet our scores get better.
That's all I need to hear. Let's do it.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
And I know you need it,
Yeah.
right?
I want to do it.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun. So here's where my mind goes. Why don't we get like a couple other guys that really want to commit to that as well? And let's track it. Let's
Yeah.
see how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not here to chase scratch. Somebody's out there doing that already. But the idea is a good one. And we have the tools at our disposal. And I think our games are actually good enough. Like when we hit good shots, we hit shots that are like scratch to plus.
Yeah, for sure. The potential is obviously there.
The potential is there. I don't know if that's even a dedicated extra day, by the way, or if it's just like making sure I get a half an hour in before I go and play. I mean, we had the great conversation with Nicole McGurr, and she said, like, if you're not warm until the seventh hole, you're
Yeah.
doing yourself a disservice.
Just give me an extra 10 minutes before the round.
Yeah, and like for me, maybe that's just like hitting a full bucket instead of giving myself only a few minutes to warm up.
The sense I'm getting is you don't even really think about it that way at all.
It's less important to me. That may become more important as I get a little older, as my body requires a little more to get ready.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I kind of like where my game's at right now. It's like, it's fun. It's good. Like I can go out there and play well. And like, would I like to shoot 67? Sure. Do I really want to put the work in required to do that? Probably not. I think I just got too much other stuff, cooking in life to really spend that much time focused on myself and grind it out like
Yeah.
that. What about you?
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of the game. It's malleable and you can shape your time however you want. Now, that being said, when it comes to the actual golf, I do want to improve, and I should put my money where my mouth is and dedicate more time to actually focus on practice.
I think every time we get a rep doing anything, it's practice, right? So
Yeah, I don't view playing around necessarily as practice because I'm specifically trying to not think about mechanics on the
yeah,
golf course.
Sure.
But I think in a world where we're lucky enough to play a couple times a week and we can shoot over and practice,
We should do more of
we
it.
should do more of that.
Yeah.
Maybe we have different reasons for it. I know what my reason is. It's to get better. But yeah, when I'm at the golf course, I kind of compartmentalize. I'm just thinking about the golf. I'm not really thinking about my lot in life necessarily. And in fact, it's kind of escapism. I just want to focus on like, how can I be the best golfer I am today? I ask a lot of questions about like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Because I'm trying to learn, and it might not work for me, but I want to, it helps me to look at someone who looks at the game differently
Yeah.
and be like, oh, you think about it that way. That's interesting. When Josh Zander talks about flow code, I'm like, oh, well, let me look into that. What's that all about? But that's kind of where I go. That's how I am. And I know you're not like that.
Well, I think our minds are generally, they work differently. We have different backgrounds. We have different experiences. And no surprise then that we'll maybe approach golf a little differently.
Yeah.
We also have a great many crossovers of enjoyment. And I think that's one of the reasons we're sitting here today. When you go to the golf course, you have a different experience than I do.
Mm-hmm.
When I go there, yes, I'm going to play golf, but my time, because I've been involved in so many different things there, I will be engaged by a lot of different members who want to talk to me about a bunch of different things. And so sometimes it's just able to be golf, which is great. Sometimes somebody wants to ask me about how meetings with the PGA went last week. Somebody wants to hear my opinion on this, that, and the other thing. And that makes it hard for me to just go and just be there to just golf.
But that's not about the soul to you, is it?
It is, because I enjoy helping people. This is kind of a different way to do it. It's like, I feel like when I'm doing that stuff, I'm helping the institution. I want to help the institution. I want to make it as good a place as it possibly can be for the largest number of people that enjoy it. And that stuff is fun. And it also, though, can detract from going there and having the experience just be about the golf
Yeah.
until I get on the course.
Does that contribute to your enjoyment of the game, or do you view that as separate from the game?
I think it's separate. You know, interestingly, side note about dads. My dad was a member at La Rinconada Country Club in the early 90s. And I remember that there was a capital project. They wanted to put a bunch of money in. It was going to be a huge assessment. And we discussed before how my dad protected his experience on the golf course from work.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that he never talked to people about what they did. It was that he didn't want to have any investors from his golf circle. He didn't want to have that headache while he was playing golf.
Right.
Every major assessment like that at a club is going to be politically divisive. And the guys that were against it wanted my dad on their side because he was a respected voice at the club or whatever. The guys who were for it wanted my dad on their side.
Right.
For the same reason. And rather than picking a side, he left the club. He was like, F this, I'm out. I approach things like that differently.
Right.
I am not going to take your side or your side. I am going to get into it and understand what I think is the right thing to do. And that requires, for me, deep diving into club politics.
Yeah.
The way that you deep dive into podcast preparation.
Yeah.
So, long way of saying, when we enter the same space over there,
Yeah.
we're going to have a little different experience.
Yeah, of course. The thing that I'm really interested in too is like, how does that shape your perspective as a golfer? And is that part of the soul or not? Leadership has always been important to me too, right? Most often that's manifested itself in my professional worlds. So for golf, it's kind of a space I'm not that interested in playing that kind of role. The extent to which it's golf focused, I'm more interested because I want to improve the golf experience for everyone. That's most resonant to me. And the way I think about golf is not just different from the way you think about golf on the same topics, but what's weighing on your mind sometimes, not, and I don't mean weighing in a bad way, is golf stuff, but not the playing of golf stuff. And it's striking to me that when we talk about a certain question, like, hey, how do you think about developing as a golfer? My mind goes to, well, here's the things I'm thinking about, blah, 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 blah. And your mind goes to, I don't really care about those things. Maybe like on the margins here or there, but I care a lot about these things too.
I think that's fair.
It's obvious that it's a big part of your identity. Do you think of the club as an institution, as one of the big pillars of your life?
I mean, I'd be lying to myself if I said otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a wife who's a member. I have twin girls who are 12 who are members.
Yeah.
4-year-old will be a member when she turns 8. It occupies a lot of my brain space. I think everybody has several different identities. One of our identities is father. One of our shared identities, that is husband. Another one for me, sober man.
DJ.
Golf course DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. The identity thing is super interesting to me.
Yeah.
We wear a lot of different, not masks, but like, I don't know what the right way to say it, but like that's the lens, I guess, you know, that we use at different times for different reasons with different people and different relationships.
Yeah. Do you feel like you get more fired up about the Olympic Club part of your life versus, for example, other institutions, your kid's school, or, you know, whatever the case may be? I'm assuming you have an extra pep in your step when it comes to the Olympic Club.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. I look at all the things that I've gotten from it.
Yeah.
All the friendships I've gotten from it. This came from it. You know, relationships are the most important thing in life, in my opinion. And the club has provided me with some fantastic relationships. It's not the only place. I got fraternity brothers. I've got sober friends, other friends and family. But I think you would agree that like it has taken an outsized place in both of our lives in terms of our friendships over the last however many years. Right?
Yeah. I don't consciously think about what role does it have in my life compared to, say, my college experience or my work experience X.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But
it's big.
It's big. So this idea of Like I kind of seek to understand golf. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel golf. Does seep into a little bit about this podcast effort we're doing.
Yep.
Do you think it works for us?
Seems like it does so far.
Yeah,
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
The
I'm glad to hear
preparer.
that. You're definitely the preparer.
Yeah.
It's hard not to notice the similarities, honestly,
Yeah,
between your approach to
for sure.
this work and to golf
Yeah.
and me as well. Hopefully the balance benefits the pod.
It should be stated for the record, we get along famously,
Yeah.
but we think about things differently.
Right. For the listener, I would describe you as a voracious preparer. It's clear to me that your mind is always clicking on this stuff. And that's great. Your focus on how to do this well, I won't be able to match it.
Well, I would say, as is the case in any team or organization, it's like, how can we be at our best, right? And my approach allows me to feel like I'm at my best. Your approach allows you to feel like you can be your best. For me to take your approach or vice versa does not allow us to be at our respective best.
Right.
But I think, at least for me, just like in golf, like I am always trying to be cognizant of where am I holding on too tight? Where can I benefit by thinking about things a little differently?
Yeah.
Right. And hopefully we're doing that.
Yes, I would say that we're both pretty self-aware. I would also say that we're at a point where if an issue arises, we're comfortable bringing it to the attention of the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you're pushing too hard on this, or hey, let's inject a little more emotion into that. And that's trust, right? And that's that's like a level of trust that takes
Hey, this is why we're 3-time quarterfinalists in the club four-ball.
Scratch Armageddon.
Scratch Armageddon. I don't know if anyone knows what that means.
We need to stop calling it four-ball, because four-ball could just be like, we have a four-ball tournament.
Okay.
Armageddon is the year-long
This is the
match
real,
play bracket.
the real thing.
The big deal.
And we have self-talk in that tournament where we constantly remind each other that we're the best players in the world.
You're the best golfer on the planet.
You're the greatest golfer in the world.
I asked you to send me this brief list of what you wanted me to accomplish yesterday in preparation for today's recording, and you led it off with, here's the things I need you to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1, remember that you are the best golfer in the world.
That's right.
And that was a needed chuckle at that moment.
We obviously approach golf in very different ways,
Indeed.
but I think you need elements of both to be successful.
Amen, brother.
We started the show by saying we were going to definitively conclude that one of our approaches was better than the other.
Epic fail.
Obviously, that's impossible to determine. To each their own.
Yeah.
That's what makes life great. That's what makes this game so great.
And I think it's what makes life interesting.
But I do think it's worth asking yourself, are you happy with how you think about it? Is there something, what do you want to look at going forward, to your earlier point? And what would those things be?
What's your answer?
Being more present, figuring out how best to practice. All the other stuff in golf, I'm pretty happy with. The friends, I'm so lucky to be able to spend the amount of time I get to play thinking about and playing the game. How about you?
I love the game, man. I love everything about it. I love the challenge that's out there for me every day. I love the ability to look at myself and say, hey, you got to do that better. I love the competition. The friendships are the best. The setting that we get to play in is unparalleled. Do I want to get better? Sure. Do I hope that my scores improve over time? Yeah. Am I going to be able to realistically carve out more time of my life to go and work on those things? I don't know. It's a great idea. It's a good thought.
Well, there you go. The grinder versus the emotionally satisfied.
Next week, part 1 of our conversation with Tom Johnson. We talk about ambition, burnout, identity, and the moment golf stopped being what he thought it would be. This is one of the most honest conversations we've had to date. Weekday Golf is produced by Armageddon Partners, LLC. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter/X. Let us know what you want to hear about at weekdaygolfpodcast@gmail.com.